Haggis Shackleton and my dad have been geology mates since the Jurassic. I always thought Haggis looked like a pirate from a book. I dared my brother to tell him so, and he paid the price. But now I think Haggis is more like his grandfather's cousin, Sir Ernest Shackleton, the Antarctic explorer.
Hi, I'm Haggis Shackleton, and geology's taken me all around the world. In Canada, northern Saskatchewan, Japan, Hong Kong, Italy, most of the United Kingdom, United States, Hawaii, over to Western Australia, New South Wales, and the Flinders Ranges and the Eyre Peninsula, but I've never worked in Tasmania. I think that's one of the advantages of geology as a science is the fact that you actually do get to travel around a lot, both in your country and overseas. And not only that, it's when you are travelling, you see the countryside in a different perspective from a lot of other people, and I find that fascinating. Doesn't matter where I go, I can still sort of say, oh, look at that, now I'm sure those rocks were... So it always gives you an added interest to wherever you're travelling. I think perhaps the most interesting thing that I would like to do geologically is actually go to Antarctica and look at the glacial features there. My greatest adventure with geology, working in northern Saskatchewan, there's no doubt that there were several times that the crew were on the brink of death. It's a job that I wouldn't wish upon my worst enemy. In our main camp, we were having breakfast. Nice day, sitting around having bacon and eggs and flapjacks and so forth. And somebody said, beer! And everybody looks around, and there it was, just ambling into the camp going... So everybody rushed for the rifles. Two of us went into the same tent at the same time, banged our heads and saw stars, and somebody else got the other rifle and shot it. So yes, even though everybody says a brown bear is a nice bear, it's not something you want to tangle with. On this particular day, we were flying in a float plane, and it was very still, very hot, and we loaded it up. It was fine. But then we flew over a little island, and because the island was warmer than the lake, the air was rarer, and the climb indicator dropped. And the pilot said, oh shit, and we actually flew through the trees, and at that point I knew I was going to die. And then we did fly through the trees with bits and pieces flying everywhere, landed on the lake on the other side, taxied back to the dock, and then took off again. So I figure I died then, and everything else has been a bonus. I enjoyed teaching a lot, and I suppose it's a function of being a little bit of an egotist and an extrovert. Rocks themselves, in many cases, are quite boring. But the thing that I do like teaching is explaining something to a student who has problems understanding. And then, after a while, you see them go, the little light bulb goes on the head. You know that you've got through to them and you've been able to pass on some information, make them understand. That's quite a nice buzz when that happens. One of my favourite pastimes. I had to learn, of course, as a field geologist, often out on your own or with one other person. Somebody has to do the cooking, so you get an interest in it. I really started getting interested in painting. Actually, when I was in Canada, I thought, crikey, I'm going to be in the bush for 90 days, what am I going to do? So I got a painting set. Well, I wasn't very good in those days. So I ended up giving it to one of our field assistants. In return, he would do a portrait of me that I could take back to Australia, which is in the other room there. But since then, I'm getting more and more interested in the last few years, as you can see from what's around the house. In the last probably 8 years, I'm starting to get serious. I even went to a class. Me, a pirate, just because I had a big beard? I really don't think so, no. Good try.
He did look like a pirate.
Arr, arr, me hearties. Shiver me timbers. Now swab the decks, will ya? I'll turn ye upside down. X marks the spot.